The reason why there is a deep state in the first place, a shadow government, a deep state, the parasitic side of civilization, you might call the matrix or whatever you want to call this. The reason why there is such a state of affairs at all is because we collectively are projecting out our own shadows. We all have a repressed primal dark side that Carl Jung called the shadow, and we are mostly unaware of it, and we don't have tools for dealing with it. And so we collectively project it out and displace it out into the world. And this is how evil is created in the world. And when we get these movements, these totalitarian movements, and they have sort of psychopathic elites, and then they have followers, people who have fallen into their gaslighting and their cult trance. And we have these hysterical movements that result in revolutions and all of this. This is a function of the way the human psyche works, of an aspect of the psyche that exists within the shadows of all of us. So, we have now, this is 2024, and we have people like Alex Jones who have been screaming at us for 30 years to wake up to the deep state, to wake up to the shadow side of civilization and start to do something about it, okay? Well, we're now at the point where, thanks to him and all the people in that movement, where a good chunk, a small minority, a minority, but still a good chunk of individuals in the Western world are now aware of this deep state. They're aware of this new world order. They're aware that there are groups that are parasiting on the public, right? And so there is a great awakening happening. So that's fantastic. But what we still don't recognize yet is that the reason why these totalitarian movements keep erupting again and keep recapitulating and reconstituting again is because they are a function of the human psyche. And we are ignoring this domain where this all comes from. We don't, as a society, have our attention on it. We don't have attention on our own inner darkness. We don't have tools for dealing with it. I mean, there are some people that have some tools, but the general public doesn't. We don't have an awareness of how this is working. Carl Jung brought this to our attention over 80 years ago, and we hid from it. We didn't want to hear what he was saying, and some Jungians did talk about it, but it basically got brushed under the rug. So now what I'm doing and why I'm out here talking like this is because I recognize that the red pill awakening is a precursor to another awakening that comes after this, where we awaken to the nature of our own shadows and we start to develop maps and models and methods for working with our own shadows, for resending our projections, for understanding how we're projecting, for understanding how that the society is the way we structure society is a macrocosm to the way the psyche is structured, and that the culture is just the external version of the mind, and that whatever's going on in the minds of individuals will end up creating self-similar culture, and that whatever's going on in the culture will tend to embed itself into the minds, that this is a interlocking system of culture mind. And if you have evil, if you have darkness, if you have manipulation and parasitism and totalitarianism going on in the external world, well, then you have some kind of equivalent in the psyches of the individuals. And then what are you going to do about that? So that's That's what I'm doing. That's what my work is all about, and how I got here and why this is my direction and all of this. I can't tell you. It's just something natural. It's been something that I've been compelled to investigate, and I have been investigating. I mean, I could trace it back to when I first got interested in heavy metal music and listening to Slayer and death metal bands, but then it moved into the intellectual domain, and I started studying Jungian psychology and looking at other alternative ways of understanding the shadow and all of this, and it just became a very strong area of interest for me. And so now I'm on my second book on the subject. My first one was put out in 2015 with Melissa Mari. That was Shadow Tech, and now we have, this is the preview copy, but the full version's out now on Amazon. Transforming Darkness, a shadow work toolkit for the red-pilled initiate. And it's only $6 to get a copy of it. I just really would like you guys, if you're red-pilled, I really would like you to get a copy of this book, look over it, understand what I'm saying in there, and I think you will get it because I try to make it as absolutely clear as possible, and I use multiple models to do this. And some of this is right out of Carl Jung. It's just a recapitulation of Jung, and then some of this is novel. Some of this is a synthesis of other teachers and researchers of our day. And I'm putting it all together for you. I'm giving you shadow work practices. I'm giving you a whole map. I'm not saying this is the be-all, end-all. I'm saying this is my contribution to a new science of the shadow of mankind. And I am encouraging you, if you're red-pilled, this is for red-pill people, right? Because if you're not red-pilled, I mean, there are other ways of explaining this to people who aren't red-pilled. And it's a softer way, and it's a more gentle way. That's not my way. My way is kind of like an Alex Jones type way, just kind of a frontal way with the whole thing. So I encourage you to get the book, read it. If you have questions, get in touch with me. We can start doing groups again. I've done groups before in the past. I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to go forward right now. This book just came out like a week ago. So grab the book, stay in touch, and we'll go from there. ShadowTechAlchemy.com.